Imagine waking up on a chilly Chicago morning, getting breakfast ready for your kids, and then, with every bite, you're wondering if today's the day everything changes. That's Jason and Rhonda's life, every single day. They're a Jamaican couple living in Chicago, undocumented, and raising two kids, a 13-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter. They've been here for years, Jason working in construction, and Rhonda as a patient care nurse. They've built a stable life for themselves, or at least as stable as you can get when you're undocumented in the United States. But now, things are shifting under their feet. Trump, in his second term as president, is full steam ahead with immigration crackdowns. And honestly, the fear is so real for them. Their little girl, 9 years old, asked a heartbreaking question the other day. If the family was going to be separated. I mean, how do you even begin to answer something like that without falling apart? And her older brother, who's just barely a teenager, he gets it too. He sees what's happening. They all sat together watching Trump's inauguration speech the other day, trying to piece together what this all means for them as a family. So, they've made some tough calls, you know. They pulled their kids out of public school just last week. The plan now is private online schooling. It's not what the kids want, but Jason and Rhonda felt it was the only thing they could do to keep them safe. The family's entire life is like a careful game of chess, every move calculated, every step forward full of second guesses. And honestly, they're not alone in this. Other families they know, mostly immigrants, are doing the same. People aren't taking chances, not with the kind of measures this administration is talking about. And the thing is, they're not hiding because they want to. Rhonda talked about how they came here legally at first, looking for a better life for their kids. And they've worked hard. No idleness, as Jason put it. But now it's like walking a tightrope over a canyon. So let's talk about why Jason and Rhonda, and so many other families like them, are feeling this way. On his very first day back in office, Trump came out swinging, like full-on policy blitz. He ended birthright citizenship, so the days of born on U.S. soil, automatically a citizen, are over. He's got the border wall construction rolling again. And on top of that, he's doubling down on deportation raids. He's not mincing words about it either. The guy literally called immigration a national emergency in his speech. It's a lot. Like, a lot for anyone to take in, much less folks who are undocumented. And with all of that looming, where does that leave families like Jason and Rhonda's? Honestly, it's a tricky tightrope they're walking. We're talking about figuring out how to keep their kids safe while not completely upending their lives. Moving feels like the obvious answer, right? But then what? They've got bills to pay, jobs they rely on. Like, how do you balance taking care of your family and staying out of harm's way? It's like being stuck between, a rock and an even harder rock. There's no easy way out of this. And then there's the sense of isolation. Jason mentioned other Jamaican families he knows. People cutting back on going out, not even doing the kind of everyday things you take for granted, like grocery shopping in peace. It's like this quiet retreat happening among immigrant communities, playing it safe at every turn. And honestly, for some, that means pulling their kids out of public schools too. Everyone's just trying to stay below radar level, kind of hoping to ride this storm out somehow. But even then, it's not like anyone's sitting back, twiddling their thumbs. These are people who've worked hard. Jason said it himself. They took a calculated risk coming here, and they've been hustling ever since just to stay afloat. There's this sense among them that, yeah, Trump's got this political mandate, but the way these policies are hitting regular people, it's heavy. It's like the weight of the world pressing down on an already delicate situation. Now, Chicago isn't just home to families like Jason and Rhonda's. It's this massive hub, a melting pot of immigrant communities who've built their lives here over decades. But you take policies this aggressive, and honestly, people are, they're retreating. You've got folks avoiding the places they've always gone to, churches, community gatherings, even grocery stores. It's like entire neighborhoods are holding their breath, just waiting to exhale. And every little choice, every single action, is weighed against staying under the radar. I mean, can you imagine how that reshapes a community? Like, picture this, parks that were once buzzing with kids playing after school, now sitting eerily quiet. Streets that used to hum with people, gone. And sure, Some people are leaving altogether. Jason mentioned others who've already opted for what you'd call self-deportation. It's this heavy decision, right? But for them, it's a calculated one. It's survival, plain and simple. And even for those staying comes at a cost. What used to be simple, things like school drop-offs or a family dinner out, it's now layered with fear. But here's what gets me. Even in the middle of all this chaos, you see resilience. You know, people finding ways to adapt, to protect their kids, their dignity, everything they've worked so hard for. Take Rhonda and Jason. Pulling their kids out of school couldn't have been easy, but they did it because they had to. They're reshaping their lives bit by bit to make it work. It's a kind of strength that, honestly, you can't help but admire. And it's not just them. It's a pattern, a resilience you see over and over in these families. It's like hope, muted but still alive. And what does that say about all of us, really? About the weight of policies that ripple out and reshape lives in ways we might not even see. I think it's a reminder of the cost, the human cost, behind the headlines and the speeches, behind the numbers and the raids. These are real people, families, kids with questions no parent ever wants to answer. It's messy and raw and, yeah, it's uncomfortable, but it's also life in 2025 for a community under pressure. And on that note, we'll wrap it up here. That's all for today. Take care, stay curious, and I'll catch you next time.